Rome feared many things: barbarian invasions, civil wars, assassinations. But there was one thing emperors feared more than armies: a man they could not control, a philosopher. He owned no army, no throne, no empire, and yet his words threatened the most powerful men in Rome, because power can silence soldiers, but it struggles to silence truth. His name was Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, advisor to emperors, master of discipline, and one of the most dangerous minds in the Roman Empire. Not because he sought power, but because he understood it too well. Ancient Rome was built on strength, but beneath its marble temples and military victories, there was paranoia. Every emperor feared betrayal, every powerful man feared replacement, and in a world ruled by fear, a calm and disciplined mind became deeply unsettling. Seneca taught something dangerous: that a man who controls his mind cannot be controlled by anyone else. To ordinary people, this was philosophy. To emperors, it sounded like rebellion. When Nero rose to power, Seneca became his advisor. At first, Rome believed Nero will become a wise ruler, disciplined, rational, controlled. But power changes people, especially those who were never prepared to hold it. As Nero descended into vanity and cruelty, Seneca watched the empire begin to rot from within. Luxury replaced restraint, pleasure replaced discipline, and fear slowly replaced wisdom. Rome was becoming weaker, even while it appeared stronger than ever. Seneca understood something terrifying about human nature. Most men do not fear evil. They fear discomfort, and once a society becomes addicted to comfort, its decline has already begun. The more Nero lost control of himself, the more dangerous Seneca became. Because disciplined men expose weak rulers without speaking a word, their existence alone becomes a mirror. And tyrants hate mirrors. Eventually, Nero no longer saw Seneca as an advisor. He saw him as a threat, not because Seneca wanted power, but because people respected him more than the emperor himself. And no ruler tolerates comparison for long. History reveals a brutal truth: empires often stop fearing enemies outside and begin fearing strong minds inside, because ideas survive longer than armies, and disciplined men inspire others to think freely. That is dangerous to any system built on control. Then came the accusation. Conspiracy, treason, whether true or not, no longer mattered. Nero ordered Seneca to die, and in ancient Rome, an emperor's fear was often a death sentence. Seneca accepted his fate calmly. No panic, no begging, no resistance, only composure. Even in death, he practiced the philosophy Rome feared most: the ability to remain free internally when everything externally is taken away. That is what made Stoicism dangerous. It created men who could not be psychologically enslaved, men who value truth more than comfort, discipline more than pleasure, character more than survival. And throughout history, power has always feared such people. Even today, societies still become uncomfortable around disciplined individuals, because self-control exposes chaos, silence exposes noise, and strong minds reveal weak systems. History changes, human nature does not. Seneca was not feared because he carried weapons. He was feared because he carried clarity, and clarity is dangerous in corrupt times, because once people begin to see reality clearly, control becomes harder to maintain. Rome believed strength came from armies, gold, and conquest, but the empire misunderstood something fundamental. True power begins in the mind, and civilizations collapse the moment they stop respecting disciplined thinkers. That is why philosophers became dangerous in ancient Rome, not because they wanted to destroy the empire, but because they reminded people what Rome had lost: discipline, virtue, restraint, wisdom. In the end, Nero ruled an empire, but Seneca ruled himself, and history remembers which one was truly stronger, because every civilization eventually reaches the same question: what happens when power fears wisdom? And history always answers the same way: collapse begins quietly. Subscribe to Stoic History, where the rise and fall of empires reveal the psychology of human nature.